Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Just covered our agenda for today. We're just going to present an overview of digital credentialing or open badging, what they're about, how they work. I'll talk about the concept of the backpack as well that you may have heard of and how that works with the badges, how the badges themselves are issued, and we'll finish off with a quick case study from one of the customers who've been using open badges for quite some time now. And as Helen mentioned, we'll endeavour to answer your questions at the end. Please feel free to use the text box. Those questions that I can't answer during our 30 minutes together today, we'll endeavour to get some answers to you by the close of business today. So thanks for registering, thanks for joining. I just want to really start by having a look at what exactly are badges. They're presented as an open standard, really just to recognise and verify learning that's taken place. So almost digital tokens of achievement or affiliation, authorization, or some other kind of trust relationship that can be shareable across the web. So what we're doing, we're recognising a learning experience, we're recognising a learning achievement and a learning outcome. And I think one of the key principles here is that badges can represent a more detailed picture than a traditional CV or resume, as they can actually be presented in very different ways and changing combinations. You might hear about how badges can be stacked according to a particular project or how somebody wants to present themselves to their existing employer, a potential employer, or to a project lead. So it can be an evolving picture of a person's lifelong learning. I think communication is a key thing here. I mentioned that it's quite different to a traditional CV, and putting across the skills, the knowledge, and the understanding that somebody has acquired. It's not always easy to get that from a transcript from, say, a degree or a particular qualification path, or however somebody wants to represent what they've learned on a training course. So I think communication is really, really good here. It's able to articulate those skills, those attributes, even those attitudes that a particular individual has. And I think it really opens up a far deeper and richer conversation that a learner can have with somebody who they're trying to communicate to. So one of the things I really love about badging is the ability to communicate that proficiency. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through today. And really promoting openness as well. The idea for open badges has been around for a number of years now. I think it was back in 2011 that the Mozilla Foundation, the same people that brought you the Firefox web browser, the Mozilla guys developed the specification and the technical standards, and that's been transitioned over to the IMS Global consortium that some of you may be familiar with. So essentially, the high-level idea is it's promoting that openness. It's describing the method for packaging that information about the accomplishments to whatever the learner's done, and embedding it into a portable image file, such as a PNG file. That image file is a representation of the digital badge, and there's also the infrastructure as well to actually validate that badge, to say what's been going on, what's been acquired, and who's authenticated it. Let's have a look a bit from a different angle. Someone's proficiency can traditionally be measured by a test or a summative exam, but a test isn't always a measure of someone's on-the-job proficiency, what skills that they're learning in the field or on the job, or how they're performing day to day on the job. So whilst qualifications and exams will always have a place, in my opinion, that summative experience to be an acid test of somebody's knowledge and understanding, I think there's still a big place for digital badges to play in how that credential it really comes together over a period of time. And we'll look at how those credentials can stack up quite quickly to help accelerate somebody's learning, but also expedite their learning curve as well. If there's nothing else that you take from the presentation today, I mean, this is the kind of the idiot's guide, which is always good for someone like me. So, in real simple terms, who did it? You're identifying that particular person or that talent based on competency or attitude or whatever it is. It's helping employers and educators better match individuals. What do they do? It matches individuals with experiences to relevant opportunities. I really like the way that open badges support individuals where perhaps a traditional education system hasn't really worked for them. There's still a lot that goes on. It really does help somebody to shine where traditional qualifications may have not always been good for them. And you know, who says that they did it? Who's actually validating this? It's an alternative way to get validation for those skills and achievements that the traditional methods might not always have done well for them. So this little process diagram that you see there, really it's a four-stage process. So from working from number one at the 11 o'clock position on the diagram, the learner's demonstrating or acquiring a skill. So in this instance, it could be project planning, but it could be food hygiene, it could be customer service, it could be a number of different things. That learner can receive a badge from an issuing organisation, and I'll talk a bit more about that later on. Now that can be done through a learning path. It's typically done online, but the learner will already have what we call a backpack. And again, I'll mention this in a slide further on. But that learner's own backpack, they can bring that badge for the learning, for the demonstration of the skill, but also export it at another point into another system because of the open nature of the architecture of the infrastructure that we've got. And the third part of this, the 8 o'clock position on the diagram, again, articulating it, broadcasting on the web. So this could be a personal network. It could be a number of different platforms, LinkedIn or Twitter, or even on an email signature. And also, as well, what sometimes gets missed with badging is the reward part. So a number of corporate organisations that we work with, they're looking at badges as a means of integrating into the reward program. So for each skill that's developed, they can actually offer a tangible reward for a learner doing something for work, actually performing a skill on the job and being recognised for that and feeding that into their CPD path. So again, it's not just about the full lifelong learning experience, but actually what happens in the here and now, that somebody can actually be rewarded for gaining skills. Look at this four-stage diagram, this quadrant. So if you're trying to sell this into your own organisations, if you're trying to build a business case, or why earn open badges, I think they're for everyone. Again, a variety of experiences can be recognised, regardless of age or background or previous learning, if you like. They can actually allow somebody to follow their interests, unlock opportunities, or even just follow their passions and really try to help stand out from the crowd and really get the opportunities that they want to achieve in their life. Organisations create and issue open badges that can be earned. So a collection can be built up over time, and each badge contains data about the skills and also the issuing organisation within that portable image that I mentioned before. So the data can be viewed when you display and share your badges, help people find out more about you. So like I say, this could be on a social media site, it could be an email signature. On a job application, you can share areas or your whole backpack with a recruiter or with a hiring manager. You can also share them on blogs, on websites, even on the more traditional learning tech platforms like e-portfolios or learner management systems, VLEs. Because of the open nature of the system, you can display these in a variety of different ways. Just moving to the second quadrant, the issue part. So any individual or organisation can can create and issue a profile and start to begin and define and issue the open badges. So any entity that can be described with a name, a description, a URL, an internet URL, an image, and an email address, it's possible for a candidate to become an issuer. So you need some sort of platform that can support that open badge specification. And again, that's one of the things I'll be coming to later on in terms of how eCom supports this. In the third quadrant, again, open badges are meant to be shared, they're meant to be displayed. You're showcasing achievements, and it's almost turning those skills into some sort of currency to unlock the opportunity. So an issuing service like eCom can provide the ability to display and share the badges. So this enables users just to store and move the badges between platforms if you've already got, as an organisation, if you've already got a platform already in situ, if you've already got a learning management system or a portfolio. So essentially, this ensures that the user always keeps control over their own data through their own backpack and they can organise and share the collections of the badges with the relevant audiences. So really just tailoring the message or tailoring their whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. They can tailor that collection of badges or that outlook to the audience. So as I mentioned before, a number of applications are available to interact with the backpack. So a recipient can display the badge no matter how they want to do. The control is with them. Going to the fourth piece of this particular quadrant, the understanding. So open badges are providing a portable and verifiable information suite about skills and achievements, and the individuals can unlock those opportunities by sharing the collections in a dynamic but evidence-based way. It's legitimate, it's authenticated. All those achievements have a backstory, if you like. They are linked to an organization or to an issuer, as we say in the language. So individuals, organizations who accept badges and offer opportunities in exchange, again, this doesn't have to be in a formal sense, but it could be for a volunteer if you work for a charity. Again, this can turn into new collaborations, jobs, internships, or a good example I always use is if you work in a matrix organization and you as a project lead need to find people with skills to deliver a particular project. Badging can help you source those people with the relevant skills and help map a project team across geographies, across different areas, all with that same open platform. Now, as somebody who wanted to contribute to a project, if I'd not fulfilled my full qualification as yet, I'm still 12 months or 18 months away from receiving the full qual, I can still demonstrate some of the learning that I've achieved through that particular qualification path. And I can wave through the badge and say, hi, project leader, I've got some skills that I've learned and I've used on another project. Could I be of help on this project? That really, really helps somebody contribute to a project, helps accelerate, expedite their learning, and they can say that they're contributing positively to a great project that in other circumstances they may not have an opportunity to do so. So it really does open up a lot of doors in a variety of different places, and really helps people put in practice some of those skills that they can actively demonstrate in evidence. So I mentioned about the data. I mentioned about really, yeah, sorry, the backpack. That's it. Well, thank you. So the backpack. Learners use the backpack account to store the badges, like I said before, and evidence them on a variety of different methods, social media or traditional learn tech platforms. The learner's backpack is their personal account, and it's not linked to any badge provider. I think that's important to note. The backpack isn't the property of your awarding organization or your charity or your corporate company. This belongs to the learner. So each learner, as part of the process, needs to go into the Mozilla site and register for a backpack. You provide that information, provide that email so that it belongs to them. The learner will add the badges throughout the career and the lifelong learning, no matter which organization they work for or volunteer for or provide pro bono services for instance. It really does belong to them. And if they leave a company and go to another, or if they take on volunteer work or do second or third jobs, that backpack doesn't belong to those organizations. It always belongs to the learner. I don't want to get too technical today, but I just wanted to touch on the provenance, if you like, of the badge, and we'll peel back the image, if you like, to see what's underneath the hood. The metadata, everything that's underneath the badge, it can include information about standards that have been achieved, the criteria that a learner has to adhere to, how it was evaluated, the actual evidence of that work. That really does help other people verify and evaluate the level of achievement. So there are three pieces that feed into the badge. This is the core specification, if you like. So there's three types of objects. There's firstly the assertion, which is representation of a awarded badge, and that's used to share information about a badge belonging to one earner. The second object is the class, the badge class, and that's a collection of information about the accomplishment recognized by the badge itself. And thirdly, the issuer organization. So this is basically it collects information about the entity or the organisation that's actually issued the badge. So if I'm a corporate company or if I'm a charity, that my information will be in there about who I am, what we do, and how the badge is being delivered. I guess in terms of the design of the badge as well, that's usually involves three particular tasks. So you're offering, firstly, you're offering a learning or some sort of other experience, which is typically often with an associated assessment of some point at this particular stage. The second part of the process is creating that badge, so it reps that experience within the framework. And thirdly, the third task in terms of this process is awarding the badge, so successful completion and then the actual awarding of the badge itself. A lot of users, excuse me, a lot of issuers provide pathways of badges that are related to that particular one that they're developing that represents perhaps different aspects of the skills or the experiences that are important within a particular discipline. So as I mentioned before, if it was somebody working in a retail environment, you'd have badging around cash handling, customer service. It could be about food hygiene. It can be a number of different experiences and skills that are important within that particular discipline. So whether or not the badge is part of the pathway of badges, you've got to design the activities and the process and the responsibility in implementing that particular learning path. So it's not just separate from the process that already takes place. It does need to be integrated. So in terms of verifying, I think this is particularly important. There are 6 things you can verify and explore in a badge once you, like as I say, peel back that layer. Firstly, details about the organisation that issued the badge, the issuer. Secondly, what the learner has done to earn the badge in the first place. Thirdly, the actual criteria that the badge has been assessed against. The criteria is important. Fourthly, that the badge was actually issued to the expected recipient. So it's like any transaction, when was that badge issued? Fifthly, the badge owner's unique evidence, which could be a number of different things. It could be a code, or it could be a link to a portfolio that's on screen. It could be a number of different things, as long as it's verifiable evidence. And sixth and finally, when the badge was issued and whether it has expired. This is a particularly important point, the expiration. Good practice always suggests that badges are time limited. So if you are in an industry or a sector that's quite heavily regulated, or one that is subject to a lot of legislation like financial services, you want to know that a particular learner has refreshed their knowledge and is keeping in line with accepted practice, but also that they know that legislation has changed. It may affect certain key areas in which they practice. Or if you're an academic, if a certain heavily cited paper has been published, you want to know that you're familiar with those concepts and that you've adapted your learning because of this cited paper through whichever academic has issued it. So if you kept a badge and it didn't have any expiry date, I think there are certain instances where that's okay. I think good practice now suggests that you should have a sensible expiration date so that you're actually pushing to the learner, or the learner has an understanding that they need to refresh on a constant basis. I'll go into a lot of different examples of that, but most learning management systems, and eCom obviously has one, most learning management systems now will help with those triggers. So if you are an HR manager, or if you're running an assessment program, or whatever it might be, you can set up a system to ensure that those badges not only expire, but you can alert and push some learning content to that particular learner so they can earn their new badge. And again, that process can be automated quite well these days. So as I just briefly alluded to, who's issuing open badges? Well, there is a very diverse range of organisations and communities that can actually issue open badges, and eCom is one of those. So the schools, universities, employers, community groups, not-for-profits, government agencies, a lot of organisations, well-known organisations in the United States are really adopted this in a big way, like NASA, the Smithsonian, New York City Library. There are a number of organisations that have really got into this. I think where we come in, we do have a service called eNet Badges, which authenticates, issues, and manages our customers' own branded open badges, and they can obviously be uploaded into the Mozilla Backpack. So where we would help would be with designing the badge itself, discovering what the badge is all about, issuing that whole workflow piece, how they're displayed, user profiles, help with social sharing as well if you want to integrate that with not just the common platforms that are out there, but if there's an internal one that you're using or one that's been designed in-house. And again, those tools to integrate with existing learning systems by APIs more often than not. So again, a lot of support is there. Obviously, help desk as well when you do have queries. But if you look on the Mozilla site, there are a number of organisations worldwide that are doing this. We've been doing this for a number of years. I just wanted to really finish off with one example of one of our customers that has been doing this for quite some time now. In the United States, the Georgia Southern University, it's one of the largest higher ed centres in the state of Georgia, and really this is all about training teachers. And what they wanted to do was to get the trainees to take responsibility for their own learning journey and make sure that they're supported beyond the classroom to achieve what they're aspiring to beyond teaching. So the Georgia Southern really wanted to strengthen its post-baccalaureate teacher education program to help really better equip the skilled teachers with the practices that they need for the modern classroom. So it was a competency-based learning approach using the badges to award the trainee teachers for completion of particular modules, because obviously that's how it was set up. So the badges really mirrored the competency set out in the state had a teacher keys effectiveness system. I think it's called TKES, and that just basically ensures the relevance of the learning of what's been done to the particular application. So with eCom, we provided a learning authoring tool to the university, and they developed some modules of content, and those modules were distributed through the university to the trainee teachers. There was an assessment which was reviewed by the course tutor, again all done on the screen, and then the students would be able to create and upload their evidence in documents, images, audios, videos. Anybody who's familiar on the call with ePortfolios, that's a very common way to demonstrate understanding and competence in a specific area. So badging integrates with all the other bits and pieces that the university has, but it really gives teachers something tangible, so that if they want to go and teach in another state or in a different school, or even if they want to leave teaching and go somewhere else, they've got something tangible which talks about what they can do and how they do it. So just to round up, I think there's three key points to pull out. So firstly, badges can create a structured, staged approach to formal accreditation. And it doesn't replace traditional certification and quality. It very much complements them, and it also helps give structure to CPD processes as well. So you're helping to understand, it helps the articulation of what skills somebody has, and it helps them to expedite their job and project readiness on their career path. Secondly, I think the open structure means that learners, apprentices, program owners, trainers, you're not locked down to a particular system. If you develop the badges and everything else with us, that can be ported elsewhere by the learner or by your organisation. And third and finally, again, the transferable natures of the badges means you can integrate with the systems that you have, or with other systems that you can bring to bear later on in the process. As I mentioned before, the virtual learning environments, portfolios, learning management systems. The opportunity to integrate really is here and now. So I just want to say thanks for listening. I'll hand back to Helen now to see if we've had any questions from our guests. Thanks, Helen.